And then as I became a mom, three more times with my three daughters, I knew I needed to figure out my time. And so what I recommend when you're just starting is that first you look at where are your hours for your coaching? Because as a career coach, that is your number one priority is coaching your clients. And so we have to make sure we know where in your calendar, when is the best time going to be for you to block out that time for coaching. That's the number one thing we want to block out in your calendar. Most people start on social media. I need to post on LinkedIn and Instagram. And that's not where you want to start. You want to block out those times for your clients because they're your number one priority. The second thing that you want to block out in your calendar is when you're going to have your sales calls because you're not going to have a business and we're not going to reach that financial goal if we're not actually talking to people and selling. And so that's the second thing that we want to make sure that we have blocked out on our calendar is time for sales calls. So you can see on the screen, by the way, on the workbook, not on the workbook, on the Google Doc, it has a link to this sheet. So you can actually put in your numbers and block out your time. You make a copy of it, you can edit it yourself. So what I recommend is we block out times in your calendar, and you can do this on the side of a day job if you have it, but blocking out times in your calendar for coaching and then for your sales calls as well. If you don't have clients yet, we can use the time for your clients for sales calls as well. That's no problem. But those are the big blocks of time that we want to put. And then after that, we know we're going to have plenty of time to talk to our clients, and we know we're going to have plenty of time for actually coaching our clients. Now, this could be just 3 hours, right? If you do 30-minute, sales calls, then that's 6 people that you can talk to in those 3 hours. We can do a lot in those 3 hours. If you do 1 hour coaching sessions, that's 3 clients that you can work with in those 3 hours. So it does add up. You can definitely grow a coaching business if you just have, the next thing that we need then is your marketing time. So I always like to do Marketing Monday where I create my social media posts. I schedule those posts if I'm doing a Facebook Live or a weekly blog or podcast. That's when I want to do it. I want to start creating my own content first before I start consuming other people's content for the week. And so I always like to start, when my schedule works this way, I always like to start Mondays creating my marketing and my content. And because as the week goes, right, like things happen and all of a sudden you got to do all these other things. But when we can start with that on Monday, then we know that it's going to get done, and then we can kind of move into our coaching. You'll also want to have a little bit of time for admin. Now, when you're just starting your business, there shouldn't be too much of email checking or, talking with your bookkeeper or checking the mail or, all of those things. Mine are maybe an hour per week or something on like admin type of tasks. And then if you do want a group coaching program, this is also where I recommend putting in that hour. It only takes 1 hour a week to do a group coaching program. So figure out when that best hour is. So that is part one. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. I just wanted to check the chat and just make sure there wasn't anything that came up so far. I see that we have had a lot of people join since I started. So I'm going to repost the links in the chat as well too. So that is the link to the Google Doc. That first link on top is the workbook. And that's really what we're going through today so that you can kind of go through and write and take notes. And then at the end of today, you'll kind of have that workbook that you can put everything that you've done today in that workbook. Okay, so let's dive into part two now. So we have our monthly income goal, we have our schedule for our 15-hour work week or whatever that goal is that you want to have. So part two now, we're going to talk about your best buyers blueprint. So really how to uncover who those best buyers are. We're going to talk about pricing, and then we're going to also talk about pitching and really how to elevate your coaching business with a compelling elevator pitch so you know how to introduce yourself. So who are your best buyers? So what identifies someone as your client other than having the problem? We want to look at like, is your best client a mom? When I first started my business, I wasn't a mom. It was harder to relate to moms because I hadn't been one myself. But as I started becoming a mom, other moms, and I think we have Jessica here today, you even said that yourself too. The reason why you like working with me is because I'm a mom and you're a mom, and we can relate when we do our schedule. There's things I can't do. I have limited time. I can't work every night. I gotta have dinner for the kids, and then I gotta put the kids to bed, which takes forever too long. And so there's things that we can relate on. So figure out what that is as well. Like, other than the problem that you have, what identifies someone as your client? Do they have a certain type of job? I used to work for the government. I spent 8 years consulting at a company called Booz Allen Hamilton, and we did what are your ideal clients' biggest dreams and biggest goals? Like when they've been working in that ideal client or that ideal career for a year, what is that going to allow them to do? Are they going to have extra finances to be able to go on a vacation, to buy a house? Are they going to be happier? So they're going to, have a happier home life and be more relaxed and balanced. And what does that person think will solve the problem? Like, what do they actually need? Now, you know what they actually need. They might think they need a new resume, but as a career coach, if you're like me, I know they actually have no idea what their ideal career is, right? So we want to be talking through that when we're communicating and positioning ourselves. Yes, I can help you with a resume, but your resume is going to be so much better because I'm going to help you also identify what that ideal career path is first. Then we're going to be able to make a much better resume, right? So I'm talking to the thing that they think is going to solve the problem, the bright, shiny